Morning, guys. Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training. Up doing a lot of chores and all kinds of things here in the morning. But I got to thinking this morning, and it really just kind of hit me in a vein because I'm working with a customer. You guys remember Eros, right? Eros that I've worked since he's a puppy. And he goes home and he comes back, and I sense that he's very clingy, right? And I'm trying to figure it out, and I've got my own assessments, my own concepts of what I think's causing it. So I jump in and I start giving feedback to the owner and things in regards to the dog's clinginess and not wanting to go back home and yo-yo. In other words, if I'm working him a certain way and he's doing the right things and he goes back home and then the customer doesn't follow through with it and the dog does what I call yo-yoing, in other words, goes right to that environment affecting the dog's overall demeanor and where his mental mind state is at, and he comes back and he's right back to being a clingy little spoiled brat, then we got a problem, right? So I started thinking about it this morning when I got up, and it's something that I've done for years, and I do it to a certain degree. I'm more aware of it because I'm a trainer. You hear me always talking about how I don't care about heel, sit down, stay, a come, and a finish as much as I do about where the dog's head's at in the work. Okay, so I got to thinking with Eros because the customer come back and then I thought maybe it was the customer's kids. He's got two or three kids and maybe this dog's just getting coddled too much and too much foo-foo, and it's an adolescent dog that should start to grow into some stature, right? Some of this is genetic, yes, but a lot of it is environmental. A dog is a product of two things. You hear me saying it all the time. He's a product of his environment. He's a product of his genetics, right? And both of those things have a factor. So his environment is you. It's how you treat the dog, what you do with him. Okay. So I got up this morning and I took out Dante, and I don't know why I did. I wasn't thinking about Eros. I was thinking about me, and I right away kind of grabbed Dante by the jowls and, "What's up, buddy? Come on, let's go potty." I took him out, and I right away started thinking about Eros and what I'm trying to give to the customer and what my points of view are, and trying to bring the customer through this as far as what a dog is in stature. What makes that dog what he is in stature is a lot of part and parcel of how you treat him. Okay, so not coddling him, not foo-fooing him, not letting him be a little, "Oh, my little snookum," because when you treat a dog like that, that's what they're going to turn out to. And I've got stories to tell you in that regards. But so it's real important that you start to realize that how you treat him in these little moments and where that dog's head's at, and structure. You hear about it all the time, structure. So when you go outside, let's go outside. Come on, heel him to the door. You sit him at the door. You expect, so you compartmentalize those moments in his life that you're going to be able to, with your energy and your personification of strength, denote strength to the dog, right? It's important. And it's also an art. As you hear me talk constantly saying, how much is art, how much is science, right? This big argument that we have all the time in our trade is how much is science and how much is art, right? And so that's that gut feeling you hear me talking about all the time, that gut feeling of dog training, right? So this is important, and I'll give you a good example. There's a dog in our area that's a black Malinois, okay, or it's a black Mal, Dutchie, whatever it may be, but he's pretty famous. He's been going out and getting a lot of rewards. The dog is really a cool dog. Now, the reason for this is another professional trainer. He's a colleague, his friend. It's Mongol with South Bay Canine, and Mongol has become pretty famous. He just won the Street League. He just got that. I think he won the first one, and he did pretty good on the second one, or I don't know where he was at on the second one. I didn't see much of him on that one, but I got to thinking about it with me trying to give of myself and my knowledge base to my customer in regards to this subject. That what is it that makes Mongol such a good dog? Is it heel, sit down, stay? No, it's the way that Psych treats that dog. Psych has a certain personality, a certain personification within his training and what he puts out, that energy that he puts out, that denotes strength in the animal. He doesn't coddle a dog. He treats the dog like he wants something out of that dog. And Mongol personifies that. Okay, how much is genetic? Sure, there's some of the genetics. That's a factor, right? But again, back to my point. A dog is a product of two things. Excuse me. So, bottom line, it's something that Psych is putting out in how he treats Mongol that denotes strength, that Mongol puts this out. He's a strong, tough dog, and he's got this certain charisma within himself. The dog does, Mongol, that denotes strength. Okay, so let's get into that subject a little deeper and think about one of the sports or one of the training axioms or attributes in the world, and then I'm talking about this all the time about genetic stamp. Okay, so I come back to that same thing. We're talking about genetic stamp, where a dog, why does those dogs set up on that bull and go crazy and go? It's something they do on a routine basis that creates a genetic stamp over time. But what does that training program, KNPV, do to those dogs over there that ends up giving them the strength? It is the sport. It's that canvas suit. They got to bite harder. They can't lose their grip. But within that sport is the way they treat the dogs, the way they build that dog. And then how they treat their dogs within their training program is cultural. It's cultural, right? Why does Hans Peg always reach to one of the top in the sport? Because he knows how to develop that, and that's a cultural thing within that sport that ends up denoting and creating within an environment, the way they treat their dogs, a toughness, right? That ends up becoming a part of that genetic stamp that we really love. I mean, we want these tough dogs. Box, Tommy, these dogs that have some stature. Yes, a lot of it is genetics. Yes, it's genetics, but that genetics is created over time because it creates a genetic stamp. Okay, it's a cultural way of treating the dogs. That's why KNPV is so lauded, why it is so praised and wanted in a tough dog. It creates a tough dog, right? It's something within that cultural being of that sport that creates that turns out that product in the end. You see what I'm saying? It's the energy that you put out. And in this respect, it's a cultural thing within that sport that creates that. Okay?